On this Marco M4 Ultra with background illumination. There's a previous video showing how to get inside and address a loose tower that was wobbling. There may be also issues where the detent is loose. You keep losing your detent. A lot of those things can be addressed by tightening up some very small Allens on the inside. Now this tower, no matter how we tighten it, there's going to be a little bit of wobble in here. And that's because this brass ring that your tube is connected to is loose. Goes up and down and it's loose. So because of that, you're not going to be able to eliminate all the wobble. It's not going to be perfectly stiff, but you can get it better than it is if you have a lot of loose Allen screws. So we're going to go into here and show you how you can tighten up some small Allen screws that are on the inside, and that could resolve your loose detent, wobbling detent, and even your tower. You can tighten that up. I'm going to get a little bit closer so you can see. Here's a close-up of this brass ring that everything turns on. You can see it's got a lot of play on it, in it, both up and down and sideways. So because of that design, which is intended for the tower to be able to spin easily, because it's not solid, you're going to have a little bit of play. If it's a matter of your tower wobbling back and forth, that might be able to resolve by tightening up the Allen screws that are behind these Phillips screws, because those Allen screws actually tighten up this, not the brass ring, but this solid piece. This base is tightened by two Allens, one on each side, that are behind these screws. So you have to take the screw out, the Phillips screw, and then behind that screw there's a small Allen screw that you slip it right in that hole, and you would have to check the tightness. It's a small Allen wrench. It's either 0.9 mil or 0.035 SAE. So you would have to have that size, but it's got two screws, one on each side. So if you can take those screws out, and with your Allen wrench, check them, see how tight they are. Both sides. You have two. You have one, and then you have another one over here. But you have to take the screw out first, the Phillips screw. And that might tighten up your tower from wobbling, and that's all you would have to do. But if it happens to be your detent is not steady and strong, then you're going to have to go a little bit deeper. What might be going on as far as the detent loosening is that part of this tower, and this part on the bottom, it's a two-piece tower, and there's 3 Allens around it, and those could be loose. And if they're loose, then even when your detent turns back, because it's loose, it's not going to end up at the same way. So I'm just going to show you how you can get to those Allen screws and tighten that up. Remember, just the objective is to separate this top so that we can get to these 3 Allen screws that may be loose. So all we've got to do is separate those. So the way we do that is take these screws off of the cap, 1, 2, which you may already know from watching the other video. And then you have 3 Phillips screws around here. You can take those out, and then these 3 Allens on this cover you need to loosen up, and that will free the top part, which will allow you access to those 3 Allen screws that are holding the bottom part of this tower with the top. So you can move the cable around and check those 3 Allens. 1, 2, and 3. And you can tighten those up and then put everything down. But if you had to go deeper, well, you could lift it up, and there's 3 screws that are actually dealing with the detent. Make sure those are tight. If those 3 are tight and your plate is up against the bearing, the detent bearing underneath, drop it and put everything back together. Line your screws up. Once you put your cover on, it will line up your tower straight, and then you can insert your 3 Phillips screws, and then the last thing to do would be to tighten up the Allens on your cover. Now when you end up, everything's going to be in line. The cover screws are lining up with these screws. So make sure the screws are lining up with each other when you're tightening up your cover screws. And with all of those Allens tightened, that should correct the loose detent, and hopefully it strengthened your tower from wobbling. Don't forget to put your screws, the cover screws back in, covering up these Allens that are behind there.